hope you're enjoying today's sessions. I know I am. When it comes to coping with the pandemic recovery, we need all the tools we can get. Our Resilience Toolkit sessions will give you that practical information that will help you plan for the future. Par ailleurs, un grand merci à l'Association touristique autochtone du Canada, qui est le commanditaire de notre séance Autosoin 101. And a big thank you to the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada for sponsoring our Self-Care 101 session. Enjoy!
Thank you, Catherine, for the introduction to this session, and welcome to the viewers today. My name is Teresa Ryder. I am the Director of Business Development at the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada. I'm very proud today to have the opportunity to introduce Marilyn Jensen, who is the Vice Chair of our board at ITAC, and she'll be leading us through an important conversation about self-care for leaders. I've had the pleasure of working with Marilyn over the last few years. She is a definite force to be reckoned with when it comes to women in Indigenous leadership. She works very closely with our community leaders around how to tread carefully and be respectful and kind of keep our heads up on the best of days. So this year has really been a difficult one on everyone, and it's vital to take care of ourselves. And I really can't think of a better person in the industry to share her knowledge with us. So it is my pleasure to introduce Marilyn, and over to you.
Great. Thanks, Teresa. I'm really honored to be here today. Teresa's introduced me, but I'll just add a little bit into who I am and where I'm coming from. So, Yedeltin Yalhat Duasalk. I just said my name is Yedeltin. That's my Tlingit name. I'm in the Southern Yukon Territory. My traditional territory extends from Whitehorse down to the coastal areas of the coastal Tlinkits. I belong to the Ducklawady clan, which is Killer Whale Crest, and I come from a long line of strong women and strong women in leadership and strong, I guess, people who have focused on healing, healing and being well and being strong and really, trying to, I guess, navigate through, trauma or difficult times, unforeseen challenges. So I'm really happy to be here today with you to share just some of the things that I've learned through my life and some of the things that I share when I'm doing workshops or teaching otherwise. So thank you, Teresa, for asking me.
Great. So I guess we'll start off. We all have our good days and our bad days, but this year really feels like the bad days keep on coming. How would you encourage business leaders or community leaders to rise up when we really might not feel like we can during this time?
I think it's really important to, kind of focus on visualization and knowing that, at some point we will get through this. We will get through this pandemic, and it will, provide for a time when we can begin to rebuild and to focus again on, welcoming visitors. And I think it's a good opportunity, because things are slow, to actually focus on ourselves and to focus on wellness, because everyone who is involved in tourism, Indigenous tourism, any type of tourism, is usually just going full on constantly, 365 days a year. Rarely is there time just to stop, and to smell the coffee, stop and just take a chance to, to look at yourself, to really look at yourself and to figure out, am I, truly taking care of myself? Am I going to be able to go at this speed, and with this intensity for, very much longer? So it's a good opportunity, I think, during the pandemic for people to, to stop and just try to figure out, how can I, keep a positive attitude is extremely important, with that positive visualization, and adding in, how can I, refocus, or how can I, when I start again, how can I be more sustainable with myself, with my own energy, with, my ability to, to produce and be productive? How can I make that sustainable? So that's what I was going to talk a little bit about today, is, really ensuring that as you move forward and as we pick up pace again, people will be able to do that in a way that is going to allow for them to, to be well
Great. And so what are some of your recommendations on how people can be well, especially during this trying time? And for a lot of us, this is new. I mean, I think for a lot of the people watching, we're used to being, as you said, on the go, very busy, full on, out. So what are some of your recommendations on how to stay positive and to put those positive intentions out kind of into the universe?
Well, usually, when I'm really thinking about wellness, and I do teach some courses on wellness, and we really integrate it into like the workshops and things that we do in community, in Indigenous community. But one of the things I think is as a guide that we can use as a guide is when we consider ourselves from 4 different spheres of what we consider the human being to be. And this is I think a really strong Indigenous philosophy. Some people would refer to it as a medicine wheel, but I generally like to refer to it as like a circle of balance. And so when we're looking at ourselves as a human being, there's many components of me. I'm not just this one kind of like unilateral presence in being. There's many parts to me. And so the first thing that we always say is that we are spiritual beings, right? And we have a strong spiritual sense that takes us way beyond the physical realm, that makes purpose and intent in life way beyond just what's going on a day-to-day basis. So we're spiritual, we're physical, obviously. We have a body, there's things we have to do to nurture our body to be strong and to be healthy and to take care of ourselves, to prevent disease. We're mental beings, very much in need of constantly nurturing and learning, and I guess really building a sense of understanding the world around us. So we have to nurture our mental self. And then, of course, emotionally, which I think is a huge sphere right now because people are dealing with a lot of emotional issues, some mental illness, just, feeling very traumatized by what is happening in the world. This hasn't happened in 100 years to this magnitude. We haven't seen a pandemic in the world since 1918, where it had this much impact. Literally, people are dying. People's well-beings are extremely being reckoned with now. People's ability to provide financial stability to their family, jobs. Some people haven't been able to work for all these months. And of course, when we look at the tourism industry specifically, we see just a detrimental impact and blow to our industry. And so how do we take care of these things? I think first and foremost is just really having an awareness that as a human being, these are all the parts of me. These are all the things, the elements that make me up. And sometimes when I'm out of balance, Sam, I just really focused on my physical health, so working out and doing keto and all of these things that we do, trying to stay physically healthy and prevent disease. But I'm completely ignoring the fact that, there's this part of me that's spiritual. And I really need to nurture and develop my spirit as well, and so as Indigenous people and many people around the world, we find ways, to express and to nurture that part of who we are. So, for me, a huge part of that is being connected to the land, and having that opportunity to go out to our traditional territories, our respective traditional territories. And I'm really lucky because I live in the Yukon. So literally I can just walk out my backyard and I'm in the wilderness, and I'm feeling a sense of connectedness of, to my identity and to the, that spiritual connection. It's hard to explain, but we are so intrinsically connected to the land. It's everything that we are, and the animals. And I do have an animal here, so sorry about that. This is Lucy. She's part of my wellness regime, except for she likes to get involved in whenever I'm doing a Zoom, meeting or anything. So spiritually, in whatever ways those look like. And they are different for a lot of people. Some people express themselves, like I just said, by going out to the land. Other people participate in ceremony, whether that is, going to a church, or, whether that is finding traditional ceremonies, with Indigenous people, or as Indigenous people, having that chance to, do whatever it is that you do. Sorry about that. Lucy, stop it.
She's so sweet.
So crazy. Like, she's still such a puppy, right? So, whatever way that looks like. And I just wanted to really reiterate that a lot of, I think, tourism operators across Canada already do have this sense of connectedness to the land, connectedness to animals, connected to kind of a higher sense of, where is my place in this world, and what can I do to really understand that, and to promote that in myself. So we have the spiritual part, we have the physical part, which I just mentioned. I really, really wanted to, hold up the concept of rest, because there again is something that so many people have neglected, in our busy, crazy lives. Just going nonstop. I truly believe that, most of humanity is sleep deprived, right? Like, literally sleep deprived, that we're not resting enough, giving ourselves the opportunity to heal our bodies, because that's how we heal our bodies, is by resting. Mm-hmm. And so rest is a big thing. And I'm hoping that, people across our industry are actually having a chance to rest for once, and to literally sleep. And to be able to take that into their life as we resume, is really being, cognizant of the idea that I need to rest sometimes and sleep, and eating well. For me, I'm constantly, when life is in its busy, crazy state of affairs, it's very easy to just eat junk and sugar and all of those things that truly impact us, right? So I know it sounds very basic, but sometimes we need these basic reminders of getting back down to like just general rules of wellness, the general rules of wellness. And so mentally, that area of our minds and our building knowledge base, again, I think, we have to be constantly in the pursuit of building our our understanding of the world. And it is also a good time to build understanding within our industry as well, because again, we're always constantly on the go. So having the chance to read some books, having the chance to take some courses, maybe having the chance to do some teaching yourself, having the chance to write. I always encourage, because I teach at Yukon University, sometimes I always encourage students about writing, and how vitally important that is. How much literature do we have, available to us within our industry? Like, do we, and especially from, because I'm, obviously a part of Indigenous tourism, how much literature is available to us in specific regards to just that, speaking about people's experiences, speaking about, how do you do it, and what's been my my kind of my methodology that I've applied. So really taking care of your mind, and always in the pursuit of learning more, is extremely important. And then, of course, back to that emotional sphere. How do we take care of ourselves emotionally? Again, I think it relates back to just being aware. Lucy, stop it. And not having a stressful puppy that wants to play. There we go. So emotionally, just being aware, like, where am I? Like a self check-in. How is this pandemic impacting me? Okay, well, to be honestly, there's a sense of panic, maybe, especially in regards to what's going on with my business. Is my business going to survive? How am I going to be able to take care of the things that I need to take care of, right? And so checking in, how am I doing today? Okay, so I do have some anxiety. What can I do to, manage that? I think a lot of it is about managing, because we can't change the circumstances of what's going on in the world, but we can manage, how we're dealing with it. So, so for myself, I'll just share and be very open and honest. I do have anxiety disorder, but I've spent a lifetime learning about it and learning how to manage it. So I can, I know when it's impacting me and it's getting to a state where I need to do something, about it. So with anxiety, a lot of it is exercise, huge, like moving our bodies, even if it is just 15-minute walk around the block. If you move yourself, and release those endorphins, those natural endorphins, it is a very good way, to suppress those anxiety feelings, which goes along with feelings of depression and all of these things. So I think it's important to be very aware of how you're doing emotionally and have strategies in place to deal with it. So there's lots of things. Sometimes people need to ask for help, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with enlisting, help from a professional, like a psychologist or a counselor, and just say, I don't know how to, articulate and manage how I'm feeling emotionally. So they, literally just help you figure out how to do these things, and how to be able to. Okay, so sorry about that. It's like, Lucy, of all the times to want to get on the couch and dig a hole in the couch, why are you now? Okay, let's put her right here. So that brings me to a good point about having a nice little fur friend too, because they are I think natural counselors, you know what I mean? Like they really help you through a lot. We don't really, I think sometimes we don't really give them enough credit, but they are natural healers, and just having a chance to have a little fur friend near you, with their calming presence and just what they bring to your life and your family. I think it's important. So I just wanted to say, emotionally, I think most people are just, full on going, not really paying attention to their emotional health. And then that's where you're going to run into problems, where all of a sudden, I say this kind of jokingly, but, all of a sudden you're laying in the fetal position and you can't stop crying and you don't know why, because, things have gotten too out of control emotionally. So basically, generally speaking, I think, when we put those 4 spheres of the human being into a kind of a visual that suggests balance and that allows us to really, focus and start writing in ideas of how can I strengthen myself in this area. So that's kind of like a tactical suggestion I have for people is literally draw a circle and, make an X and have 4 equal spheres in there. And label 1 spiritual, label 1 physical, label 1 emotional, and label 1 mental. And write down how much time or what kind of activities you are spending in each of those spheres. You can color it in, to that percentage, or you can just write a number, whatever way works for you. And if you see that, wow, all my time and energy is going into this one sphere and I've got barely anything happening over here, then you need to start figuring out brainstorming ideas on how you're going to facilitate more well-being in that sphere. Does that make sense? I just spoke.
Really good. And I think for me, being an Indigenous person and kind of understanding the way that we see the world, I think that's really sound advice. And I really appreciate kind of how important it has been and will continue to be as we move through the pandemic, to keep all of those things in check. I mean, I know for myself personally, there's feelings that are coming out during this pandemic. As we were kind of talking earlier, I think we're all very social beings. We're used to being connected and seeing our network of people, and it's very unnerving to have those days where you're sitting quietly at home sometimes. I for myself, I think in reflecting what this last 8 months has looked like for me, that has been the biggest shift, and in not being on the go, not being busy all the time, or being out busy, still busy, but I think it's that adjustment, and really having to reflect on what bucket do I need to fill up today? How can I bring myself back into balance, and how do I manage these new feelings that I haven't faced before? So I think your analogy of using the medicine wheel for me is multi-layered, not only because it really calls out what we need to be focusing on, but I think I was getting a visual of kind of, you fill up one side, then you're going to tip over your scales, so I think that's a really good way of kind of describing the things that are important, and to make sure that we're not just physically here, but that we're mentally and emotionally aware of kind of, what we're being expected to manage right now.
Right, absolutely. And you do bring up a really great point of, human beings are so social, and we have been completely cut off from our networks and our social circles, besides on Zoom, which is great. It's a great thing, but it's just still not the same, right? And also to take breaks. Take breaks from the stress, like have some fun, figure out a way to have fun, and like just pure joy, have fun. For me, my business partner is going to go buy a Skidoo, and we're just going to like go skidooing and rip around and just have fun like kids, just do these crazy things that bring you joy, right? That you're able to socially distance and and still follow the rules.
Great. So I think my next question would be, what are 3 things that you would recommend to the audience today that they should be doing to make sure that they're taking care of themselves during this time?
Okay. So number 1, I'm gonna reiterate on the rest again. Take this time to renew your body and to heal your body with rest. Take this time to rejuvenate your mind in all of those areas, and how to be okay with that. How to just I guess be present in the quiet, right? How to just take that and learn that it's okay. Because our world is so structured around being busy and being productive and everything else. This is being productive and this is being busy, but in a quieter way, because you're healing yourself and you're healing your body. So rest, and being able to talk to each other about it, right? So there's a lot of power and a lot of I guess wellness in me being able to say, you know what, today I'm absolutely freaked the hell out that I'm not going to make it through this, that my business is not going to make it through this. I need somebody to talk to, just having that network in whichever way you can find it. Some people are lucky because they can, they can facilitate that network physically, in their bubble, their, whoever is around them. But, I think a really great thing is this, what's happening here is that people are still able, to connect in this way and find other people that they can have honest discussions about that are reflective of this is how I'm feeling, and I can't pretend I'm okay when I'm not. Mm-hmm. So that, and then I guess I'll always promote exercise as a vital component to wellness. Like seriously, you can't feel okay if you're not able to move your body, and not able to unleash those natural endorphins. And again, it doesn't have to be like 3 hours at the gym, pumping iron, and like running on the treadmill, at full speed for an hour. Literally, you could do a 7-minute workout, and you can actually do that, off your phone, off your smartphone. There's so many different exercise programs that can just walk you through something so simple. And a lot of them are just walking.
It's 12 o'clock.
I'm just going to walk. I'm going to walk today for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to stretch for 5. So those, I think, would be the 3 top things that I would suggest for personal wellness and staying on top of it.
And I think that's a really good piece of advice. The second thing you said for me, I think, during this time, connecting with other people and kind of sharing this experience is, as you said, it's been over 100 years since we faced something like this, and times have really changed. So I think, being able to connect, I know, for me, my family and my friends have been using a lot of video chats, but really having some conversations, maybe because we're kind of isolated, but talking about mental health and talking about the importance of getting those feelings out and sharing with a network of people that I trust. And I feel like that's a really good piece of advice. And also recognizing that, during an average day, we're used to being busy, but there's also time in there where we're not focused directly on our computer, or we're moving, or we're connecting with our colleagues. And so, really having that, the acknowledging the rest time away from the mental space that we all play in, I think has been an important piece of advice as well.
Yes.
Great. Well, anything that you would like to add in terms of overall wellness for the industry, or anything you want to leave us with today?
I guess just, to keep positive and to keep focused on that eventually this will shift, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and just to stay safe, for people to stay safe. We will make it through this. It is definitely hard and challenging, but to stay positive and, just to keep that hope and that joy, and to spread that as well, to spread that as much as possible to our colleagues and throughout the industry. We're going to make it through this. So, might as well make the best of it we can.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Marilyn, and I'm sure that everybody that's watching will appreciate your advice. And thanks for sharing with us. And for everybody, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and hope that you enjoy the rest of Congress.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, take care. Have a great day.
Bye.
Merci de votre participation à cette causerie de l'AITC. Thank you for joining us for this TIAC Talk. The TIAC Tourism Congress is brought to you in part by our amazing sponsors and virtual exhibitors. Please take some time to visit them in our virtual marketplace.